You ever been out in the boat on a windy day? When the wind lays down? Boy, I tell you, it changes everything, doesn't it? We're going to think about that today. The Holy Spirit shows up this week in the text. What's it like when the wind shows up? What does it change? We're going to think about that today in Now What Devotions from Trinity Lutheran in Cyrus. We're out here fishing today on an unnamed lake, and it was real choppy earlier. And you know, you gotta put the nose of the boat into the wind, and then you gotta change the way you do things, and then you gotta watch out for the waves. And you want some chop, but if it's too much, you know how it goes. Well, the disciples today, they're waiting for the Spirit, and the Spirit shows up, and this is the climax of John. It's a pretty big deal. The Spirit shows up, and it brings power on high. We talked a little bit last week about power, but this week that Spirit shows up, kind of like a breeze. And you know, when the wind comes, it comes, and then when it goes, and it's unpredictable. You got anything in your life that's unpredictable? Would it be easier if you could just control it? What does it mean that when the power of God shows up, it's unpredictable? How do you trust something that you don't always know when it's going to do what it's going to do? We're going to start thinking about that this week. I want to encourage you. What does it mean to trust God when we can't predict what God is going to do? We don't know when God's going to show up, and yet God shows up. You know, Jesus said the Spirit would show up, and so we trust that it will. In the same way, Jesus says that God is with us, and so that we trust that God is with us. You know, when you see somebody pulling a boat, there you go, up to the dock, you expect somebody to be bringing a vehicle to pick it up. There are signs that we can look for. There are ways that we can look for that God is going to show up, but it can be hard to trust that the Spirit's going to show up, and we can't predict it, right? You know, sometimes the fish are biting, sometimes they ain't. Today they ain't. But that's your thought for this week. What does it mean to trust God even though we don't know when God's going to show up? What does it mean that the Spirit can lay down or all of a sudden be moving like the wind does sometimes, and it changes everything? And how do we be adaptable and flexible with that and move with it in a way that's productive? If you figure out the answers, let me know, but it's something to dwell on and think about this week in prayer and in thought as we work our way through this text. That's all I got for you today. We'll see you next time. This is Pastor Chris signing off from Trinity Lutheran in Cyrus for Now What Devotions. Hey, if this video has been useful to you, go ahead and share it with a friend. I'll bet it'll be useful to them too.